Hello and welcome to When Pigs Fly. I am Patty and I'm joined by Renee and Tracy. Good morning, ladies.
Hello.
Morning.
Good to see you. We're going to continue on our honesty roll here because, hey, it's the only way we know. As Tracy just said, the truth is being revealed. So we want to know, what is your truth? And how do you get to know your own truth? By getting to know yourself. So, today we are dedicating this episode to authenticity and getting to know yourself. And what does that mean to you? And we brought up an example. We have these wonderful little sidebars, and we wanted to talk about people who are, and we commend you for seeking help and guidance. And we want to encourage you to be on the lookout if you are idolizing somebody. So if you like, and I know Renee and Tracy, when people come to us, we want to give them guidance. We want to give them guidance. We're just kind of saying, hey, look over here, because our unique, each of our experiences are unique to us. And yes, we've been through, and we do want to help show the way to others. But there's a fine line between then you idolizing somebody and kind of following step by step by step of what somebody else is doing and thinking that if you don't do it your way and what's best for you, that things aren't going to change. And that's kind of where we're going to go. Renee, you had a great you had a story about this, and I know we don't have to get into the exact story per se, but it's just watching that you can put yourself into a pattern that's actually not working for you.
Right. Yeah. Because what I don't think we recognize is it's so easy. And, I'm speaking for myself, and I believe that both of you as well. We don't want you to take everything that we've done. Oh my God, this is exactly what I have to do. This is, how it is. Because exactly, what you said, Patty, we're here to guide you. You really have to feel what feels right to you. And you say it, in the podcast all the time, like what you don't like, shut it away, let it all go. Because what I see happen, and this happens with a lot of people, that number one, I'm going to reiterate again that all the old ways of doing things are done, they're over. So if you've been following people and say, okay, this is the way, this is what it is, and it's really pay attention to you. Does it really feel right to you? Or have you put this person on this pedestal? Nobody, bless you, nobody should be on a pedestal ever. Okay, because we're all on that same plateau. You might be moving around the plateau, so do not get everybody off those pedestals. Because the truth of the matter is, what you start to do is you start to create, you're telling your body, we don't know. I have to follow this to a T. And you're doing every little aspect. So you're telling your system, not only do I not know, now you're creating a pattern within you. So, I had an experience recently where somebody does that, follows somebody to a T, and then they were trying to heal themselves. Okay, like they were doing something new, and because that guru, I'll say, wasn't the one who actually introduced it to them, their system was fighting the energy. And they said, "Oh, I feel like crap. I can't believe it. Like, what's going on?" And when I looked at the energy, I was like, "Oh my God!" Like, I didn't even realize that you could create that pattern. So the pattern that was within them, and then the guides and the healers and everybody were saying, "Yeah, this is a lot of people out there. They're not listening to themselves. They're not feeling what's right to themselves." So we're going to encourage you to do that, because then when I looked and I saw the pattern, and the pattern was, well, no, it didn't come from this person, so I have to fight it. We don't know. It didn't come from there. So we're not even recognizing what's actually going on within our systems. You have to pay attention to you. If somebody tells you that, includes me, somebody tells you something, feel it. Does this feel right? Put it into effect. If you put it into effect, it might be right one day, but it might not be the next day. So honor that. And I always tell everybody, look at, I'm gonna, guide you to this, and I want you to take everything that I say to a whole new level. Go beyond what I know or what I'm saying to you, because you know what's right for you. Every single person is not the same. Everything isn't going to fit. perfectly. So you have to honor that, but let go of what everybody's saying. You can do what they're doing, but don't do it exactly. Say, okay, what feels, oh, how can I, yeah, reframe it?
Yeah.
How can I take this to the next level? Anytime I've ever taken a course in anything, my thought has always been, how can I take this to the next level? And I'll be listening to them, and then they'll say something like, "Oh, you know what? Okay, for this person." And then because I'm asking, well, how can I take this? All of a sudden, all this stuff downloads. Very rare that I ever finished a course because all of a sudden I got all these downloads, and it was how to do something differently. And I always have an intention also that anybody coming to me for a one-on-one, a course, whatever it is, that they are all open. I always say to the healers, give them, because sometimes you don't know, right? So I'm like, okay, give them the ability to bring everything that I'm bringing forth to another level. I'm asking for them because they might not know. Well, if you're saying this idolizing me, oh no, God, this is what Renee said, this is what I have to do. It might be good for now, might not be later. And not only that, I'm asking your guides, I'm asking the healers. I can guarantee you, and I can tell you from experience, they have told me things, and I'm like, nope, not gonna do it. Not gonna feel right. And they're like, no, Renee, you should, nope. Mm-mm. Fight with them all the time. I'm like, nope, not gonna do that. Doesn't feel right. And I always say, you can bring it back later because maybe it'll be later. So I sort of like, put in this little file cabinet. And sometimes it does come back and sometimes it doesn't. So honor just because they're saying, look, if this would be a right thing for you to do, we are here on this human existence. We're in this world. What is it you want to do? Don't idolize the healers because, again, they're
Yeah.
idolizing us. They're saying, oh, thank God you chose to come. We're not going onto that Earth planet. So really pay attention and honor. Don't get into this whole field that you don't know or that, oh, I've got to idolize this and I have to follow that. If it's not right,
Yeah.
follow what is right for you.
Yeah. And if you're not growing, are you growing? Oh, Tracy's on a commercial break. Um, it's are you growing? And I know for me, Renee, when I first started like hiring coaches and mentors, um, I knock wood that I had the instinct that I would be like, okay, I'm done with that.
Yes.
You need to know when you're in the growth process, knowing, okay, I'm done with that. And then be able to let it go and then follow your guidance and say, oh, okay, now I'm ready for this. And like you said, sometimes you might get 50% through and go, oh, okay, that was exactly why I tuned in, but it should be choiceless. And again, it's like, okay, what do I need from that? Why is that resonating with it? And that's why here, what we're being very mindful to encourage you to only take what resonates with you and throw the rest out. And here's the key. You are not less talented, gifted, that you have the same powers and abilities that we each of us do. And I remember like when I was first doing this work, I remember hearing like somebody channel. All of a sudden I took a channeling class and then I was like, how come I'm not channeling? And then realizing, oh, wait a minute. There's multiple well, the first time I actually heard channeling, I turned it off because I was like, what the fuck is that? That some woman's calling herself a man's name and then a woman's voice came out. I was just like, and then when I realized, oh my gosh, then through my journey, I would pick up pieces. And the key here is put them down. And like I know, Renee, you and I both do this with our clients. We're like, no, we're here for you if you need anything. But if you're still asking me the same question 6 weeks from now, you didn't grow and you're not on your own journey. And it's again, it's like, what does this mean to me? What part of this resonates with me? And that's where that's when you step into your power and know when you got out of something. Sometimes even a book, you'll pick up a book and go, oh wow, this is why I got this book, and I might go back and read it later. But just to start to get that awareness of, am I growing? am I growing? And then when something catches your ear, your eye going, oh, okay, I'm curious, something in there, there's something in there for me, and go, but be willing to let it go then too. Like, I got a pile of old courses and stuff. And still, like to this day, like I'll listen to something and go, oh, there's something in there for me. Let me see what it is, and be willing to keep rolling with it versus, uh-oh, this one guide and there's only one way of doing it. You're totally disregarding you're not being true to yourself, and you're not getting to know yourself better. This process of higher consciousness is all about getting to know the truth of who you are. And your soul already knows it. And this is why we're like encouraging you to expand and saying, okay, my desires come from my soul and I act on them. And like that's like energy 101, right? Okay. And think expansively. Think you're a soul in a body, not the other way around. You're not stuck in your little body. You're not broken. You're not stuck. We can say that 1,000 times. You're not broken. You're not stuck. And if you're following somebody or listening to somebody because you think you're broken or stuck, start to shift that and just say, no, I'm in the process of getting to know myself. And what are they saying? And is this resonating with me and in my body? Our bodies know the truth. And Tracy, I can tell she's got something juicy.
Well, I was thinking of a nice, succinct analogy that I like is everyone should be writing their own autobiography and don't plagiarize. So I learned this when I was a young mother. I went to a naturopath because I was getting headaches and it was stress. I was trying to run businesses. I had two young children, and I know my body was screaming at me, like, you are trying to take on way too much. You're not honoring your boundaries. And he was a young guy, and, oh, eat this. And I was like, until you walk my shoes, until you're a 40-year-old woman with two kids running, you cannot dictate what's going to work for me. And it was such a good personal realization of, you can give me advice, but you can't do me because you're not me, right? You don't know my every day. So you can't speak to what works for me. So I was kind of lucky that I saw that angle, and it was more so of a screw you than a, profound wisdom. But so from then on, it was, we can look at it from different angles. I love information. Like, it's like going to the library and reading all the books, but I'm like, well, how do you see it? Well, how do you do it? As opposed to, how do you think I should do it? And it's a very, it's the empowerment versus giving your power away, right? We're
Yeah.
saying the same thing, but yeah, I will admit I love to hear what people are saying or what they're doing, but I always say I filter it through me, right? All the information I run through the filter of Tracy, because no one knows me better than me. And you can give me all kinds of tools, tricks, information, but I'm very mindful. I will run it through me, and then I get my own autobiography, right? My own formula that no one else has that formula but me. And even because I do love channels and, what do people see in energy? But I also learned, if you're doing, one-on-one and someone sees energy in the moment, in that moment, if you don't like that energy, rewrite it
Yes.
immediately, because we do have, we have to be honest. There are undesirable experience, situations, energies that run through life all the time, and that's okay. Those are our points to see, learn, do, pivot. But to own that power of, oh, okay, I got a not so desirable energy in my system right now, and this person is seeing it. Awesome for that flashlight. I'm going to rewrite that right here, right
Yeah.
now. Not like, oh my God, I'm stuck in. No, no, no. That's where
Transmute
you're,
it.
yeah. And literally in the next second, oh, awesome. I'm going to let that go. So many
Love it.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what else is like, because I know a lot of people will go to readers for things. Well, tell me, what this is saying, what that's saying, what am I going to do, all that stuff. But yeah, that is like you tell everybody what they're going to do. But I want to say that, and I don't know if I said this before, we just did a sidebar one time, but what you have to remember is even the healers, when they're talking to you and like doing stuff, they are showing you and giving you information on the path that you are on right now in this moment of time. So if you're going to read her and she's telling you, okay, this, and this is going to happen, she tells you something that you don't like, know that you can change that instantly. That is
Instantly.
not something like when I first started, I was reading some girl and I saw this like horrible thing and she was gonna be paralyzed. And I was like, I'm not saying this to her. There's no way. I'm not gonna tell her. And I said, can she rechange it? And like, of course she can. He was like, of course she can. I was like, okay, well, what has to happen? Now I'm telling her all these other things, and they said, just have her, check. And I'm like, well, okay, so we don't know what that means. So I just said to her, you know what? Let's just like have you say something. And I just, challenged what they were, and she said it. And it was like this little movie rewinding. And then all of a sudden I saw her just have this little tiny fender bender. Now, why she went into the whole thing of having it, because the first thing she said to me was, I went to a reader, the reader told me that I was going to get into a car accident. And she said, and oh my God, I'm so worried. And that's when I saw this. She put so much energy to it that maybe it
Yeah.
was just originally supposed to be a friend of ours, but she created this whole big thing and she was going to be paralyzed. And it was months later that she called and she's like, oh my God, you were right. Like, I just got to, she backed into a garbage truck thing. And I was like, okay, say it like this. She goes, oh my God. So I was like, so good. But she changed. She didn't realize it. And I never told her, but she didn't realize we can change every single thing. It goes right to exactly what Tracy was saying. Change it right then and there. You see something, you're feeling the energy, nope, I'm going to change this because why? This isn't who I am, or this isn't what I'm showing up to be. This isn't what I'm creating now. Maybe I was before because that's why I'm in this, but now I'm going to change it.
Yeah.
So allow that. And if you're uncomfortable when you're doing things, that's when you know you're growing.
Absolutely. So well said. So well said here. And it goes back to what am I creating now? And always keep in mind, is this guiding me versus like Tracy said, or are they telling you what to do? We're here sharing our experiences. Here's what we did when this was happening. And we're doing that just so it triggers that little in you. And you might go, oh, okay, that doesn't feel right for me, but that gave me an idea. Okay, now I understand what they're saying. And now I can, versus, oh, okay, somebody stop looking for somebody outside of you to tell you what's going to happen in your life. It's like I had a similar experience with a friend, Renee, that she said, "Oh, I went to this, medium." Anybody who is telling you your future is not you, and then you're just buying the story, you're recreating a bullshit story because you didn't stand in your power and say, "Oh no." I had a similar story where told her she was going to get a flat tire, and I immediately said, "Stop." I said, "Don't even repeat it. Don't even well, I heard her tell another well, a couple of days later, and I said, "Do you understand? This is a great lesson in the power of creation." So you bought into this, and so like it's get that discernment, start to really pay attention to, and especially if you're doing this work, if you're exploring what happens in higher consciousness, it's really about what do I want to create? And so I heard this piece of advice, and like Tracy said, like you might pick up a book and go, "Oh, that sounds good." And then the next sentence you might go, "Oh, that's not me." Well, it's because it's not you. It's that was the author's perspective. And just always, I think Tracy, like every day, right? What do I want to put in my autobiography today? What do I want to create today? And it's make it fun. Make it fun. But if you're looking to any of us to say, oh, here's what's happening in your future, you're ignoring yourself. You're not getting to know yourself. You're not following what your body tells you. That GPS, when we're off when we're off of our soul purpose, that's when the GPS goes off and makes you feel yucky. It's saying, "Uh-oh, don't." And then if we don't pay attention, that is the car accident. Okay. They weren't listening to the guidance, and you create when you get into default and not paying attention to your thoughts, then whatever the TV on was on all night, that's what's getting dumped in, and that starts to become your experience. But the good news is when we talk about negative energy like that versus the, power of, the love energy, this new fifth dimension energy, is that there's very weak creation in that. So that's why Renee was saying, like, if you put a deep focus on that negative thing, you do turn it into a creation, but you can flip it with good energy like nothing. It doesn't need, right, a lot. So any, anything to add there, Renee?
Take responsibility for what you're creating, like every day. Like, what am I creating today? What do I want to be? How do I want to show up? And know that, Patty, you touched on this before. Like, we're not tapping into anything that you don't have access to. Like when I used to take courses, different stuff, I always said, and I just had this conversation with two friends of mine last week, and I said, listen, just you're taking these courses, you're doing these things. I used to always say, you know what? I want to tap into wherever they're getting their information. Come on, I'm tapping into that and give that information to me. And even better, what else can we do with this? And sometimes I was aware of the download, sometimes it wasn't, but it was coming because you're asking for it. Nobody in the world is tapping into anything you don't have inside or that you can't access. So flip it over, access it. Like, go ahead, like ask yourself and ask the healers or whatever. Like, okay, I'm just tapping into all of this. And I used to be very specific. I'd be like, as long as this is in all pure love and pure light,
Yeah.
because not everybody in this field is working from a
True.
place of unconditional love. So
True.
really feel it and really honor what feels right to you and follow that path.
Oh God, so true. And like, how is this landing on me? And again, am I growing? Am I growing? And don't compare yourself. the By the way, from when we started, the energetics now are so much more supportive to your growth. That's the beauty of this, that things are happening exponentially quicker. But just beware, if you're comparing yourself, don't compare there is no lack of progress. This is a lifelong journey that you're on now, but the energy and the things that you're capable of creating, the realm of possibility just keeps growing and growing, and we have access to new energies that were never available before. And so that's why we keep stressing, like, be responsible for your energy and be aware of it. Trace?
I think it's tapping on what you both said. Again, I love information. I love to listen to people. I'm also guilty of signing up for courses and I get whatever percentage the way through. And then I just know I'm done. I've gotten what I needed out of there and I'm done. I'm a habitual not finish the course person, but to ask the question, if you're listening to something, learning something, I love how Renee like asked to see it even better or even more, because I think we all tend to get into the listening, and that's good, that's valuable. But to remind yourself, because the energy is so available and it's so exponential, even what we're saying, as soon as we say it, by the time you might listen to it, so much more might be available than the words coming out of our mouth. So to tap into that and to ask to see more, hear more, it's so cool that it really is accessible. And I know those are elusive words, but the more you tap into that, the more you'll see it. And, I always say you can't know until you actually experience it, right? Like, I'm sure for both of us, you kind of had this theory of how this all worked. And then one day you're like, oh my gosh, I totally saw that, and it's the first time and you're like, I get it, I get it, I got it, and you can't
Yeah.
really explain that to anybody until they get
Yeah.
it, whatever the elusive it is, right?
Right. Such a great point you bring, Tracy. And also, know what? I think when you first start, you feel like there's a finish line, right? Or there's going to be, and there is now, there are definitely moments where you make a cool discovery and then you go, oh, wow. But for me, what happened is I just had a more even expansive view of the field of infinite possibility. It was like what I thought was expansive just got even bigger. And then you stop trying to dictate it and expect it. And then you go, oh, wow, show me more. How can this expand? Right. And heightening this experience, you can have a bigger experience. And again, but it's, how is this landing in your body, our bodies? um that's like, it's one of the biggest things. It's your GPS, and it'll tell you. Um, and if you are following an advice or a practice based on the fear that if you don't do one of those things, that everything's going to go to shit, you can't get this work wrong, by the way, because that GPS is going to keep pushing you over. It'll push you over here. It's like, look over here. And that's what we're trying to do here, is kind of say, hey, look over here. If this is you, hey, look in the mirror and say, is this right for me? I've had people say to me, do you think I should sign up for this? And I go, do you think you should sign up for it? Uh, I can't make that choice for you. Well, would you? That's not right for me. And so it's, yeah, does it resonate with you? And like for me, I know when I pick something, it's a hell yes. It's, oh, something they just said. And again, like, yeah, if it's a course or whatever, you might, when you get what you need, you are done and know you're done. And then if you're not sure, then there might be one where you're in the longer play of it. And that could be just something in your growth process where, okay, this is meant to sink in with me. But then when you become disengaged in the body, you're off your path, right? And it's,
And,
look somewhere else. That's all.
yes. Yeah, let go of the expectations that you have on what it is, because it's different for everybody. And like, Patty said earlier, don't compare. So many people say, oh, well, this person started channeling this, or this person's doing this. It's not like that for me, because maybe you're channeling somebody different. Or maybe that's not what your thing is. You don't really want to do it. You think that that's cool. So it's, oh, I really want to do that, but you're not really paying attention to what your first step is. That might be a later step. I mean, or, oh, well, they see energy, or they know. Look at seeing energy. I mean, that's a big thing. When I say I'm seeing, it's nowhere near the way when I first started seeing. And a lot of people say, I wish I could see like you see. First of all, no, you don't. So much stuff we see, no, you don't.
They should see
But
you in our sidebars. Get out of here.
exactly. But the way of seeing, and think about it this way, the way of seeing, that's a human element. Okay. And I used to see things in the energy field. Now I can say, when I see things, I have to be honest with you, it's not a seeing the way I used to see. It's a knowing. I could describe it to a T. And when I tell people that, and like, okay, you know this, I know you know it. And then they'll say something. I'm like, okay, describe it to me. And they'll describe it. I'm like, do you just understand you just saw? You're seeing. It's the terminology. This, I say seeing, and I should really be saying knowing.
No.
But it's that base. So you let go of the expectation that you have of how it is. It's going to be different for you than it is for somebody else. Travel your path. Don't jump on somebody else's path. That's never going to give you the results that you want. What is it I want to do? How do I want to feel? What is happening for you? How am I showing up for you? That's your whole thing. And like Penny says, your GPS is gonna keep pulling you back. So if something's not working, it's a struggle. Guess what? You're on the struggle bus. You're not in the natural flow. You're not into your flow. So feel it. Does it feel right? If you're thinking, should I sign up for this course? If you're not sure, sit on it. Wait for the next day. If they're saying, what's this time frame when you got to do? Well, are you doing it out of panic? And then later you're like, oh, I wish I already didn't do that. Pay attention. Take the time to do it. I know my husband will never. If somebody's got a time thing, like you have to do this, he's like, it's not for me. He will not do that because that's just not right for him. And I think one instance I ever saw where he did something and then it was like, yep, we're going to do this, which shocked me. I'm like, was this Invasion of the Body Snatchers? What happened? But because he knew, he was following that knowing of like, this is what I know to be. You all have it. We have that in us. Pay attention, honor you, and you'll fly. Like you'll be amazed at what starts to unfold when you listen to you.
Very
I
true.
had two quick these came to me.
Yeah.
Growing up in the restaurants, if someone would complain about your food, like if you're a manager, or you'd start to take it away from them, and you'll be shocked at how many people are like, what are you doing? Why are you taking my food? And you're like, well, you just complained about it. But it's the same theory. My mother-in-law, for years, I would ask her opinion to totally validate what my thought. Like, she's like, why do you ever ask me? And I'm like, because it assures me that I know what I want. Like you're my sounding board. So sometimes people might like if someone asks you, or it's okay to ask people, or how I used it is it gave me that situation to really know that, oh, that is what I want. Because
Yeah.
you told me something different, or you know, do you see what I'm
Yeah.
getting? If
Uh,
you need
A
to bounce back,
100%. And great point, Tracy. And this is why we wanted to eh, create this community here because we're a sounding board.
right?
We're a sounding board for each other, right? This is a place where we can, hey, talk about, hey, here's what's going on. And it does. It's like it's a place where you can share and this is and what happens is the more you get to know yourself, your tribe comes to you. Like how we all came together was literally just like I would call it divine. It just was effortless and e- easy and quick and but we all knew it was just, oh, yes, we're doing this. And so, and you have that ability and just start to say, is this choiceless? Is this my yes? And is this still resonating with me? Or is my GPS going off going, oh no, I'm just forcing myself to do this or like I said, following somebody else's rule book. You write your own rule book.
And
So
you guys are getting cat power today. This is little
I
Remy,
love it.
and I'm
Well,
letting her, because the pets are magical right now. So you're getting an extra boost of magic by watching today.
we love it. We have some Remy magic happening here. So, well, any closing thoughts here, ladies? I think we 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 kind of beat the horse here on this one with, but we can't stress how important it is to get to know yourself, and then how are you taking and being really responsible and discerning about getting guidance versus following someone else's playbook. It's not yours, right? So, well, we thank you again to everybody who's listening. Keep hitting those like and subscribe buttons and share it with anybody you think's ready to hear it. And if this doesn't resonate, like we said, we provide parachutes and safe landings. So, thank you, ladies, for another great episode, and I will see you next time.